गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन् ऊतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रजवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्। ॐ अस्य श्रीरुद्राध्याय प्रश्नमहामन्त्रस्य अघोर ऋषिः अनुष्टुप् छन्दः सङ्कर्षणमूर्तिस्वरूपो योऽसावादित्यः परमपुरुष स एष रुद्रो देवता नमः शिवायेति बीजं शिवतरायेति शक्तिः महादेवायेति कीलकम् श्रीसाम्ब सदाशिव प्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगः। ॐ नमः शम्भवे च अग्निहोत्रात्मने अंगुष्ठाभ्यां नमः मयो भवे च दर्श पूर्णमासात्मने तर्जनीभ्यां नमः नमः शंकराय च चातुर्मास्यात्मने मध्यमाभ्यां नमः मयस्कराय च निरूढपशुबन्धात्मने अनामिकाभ्यां नमः नमः शिवाय च ज्योतिष्ठोमात्मने कनिष्ठिकाभ्यां नमः शिवतराय च सर्वक्रत्वात्मने करतलकरपृष्ठाभ्यां नमः नमः शम्भवे च अग्निहोत्रात्मने हृदयाय नमः मयो भवे च दर्श पूर्णमासात्मने तर्जनी शिरसे स्वाहा नमः शंकराय च चातुर्मास्यात्मने शिखायै वषट् मयस्कराय च निरूढपशुबन्धात्मने कवचाय हुं नमः शिवाय च ज्योतिष्ठोमात्मने नेत्रत्रयाय वंषट् शिवतराय च सर्वक्रत्वात्मने अस्त्राय फट् भूर्भुवः सुवरोमिति दिग्बन्धक ध्यानं शुद्धस्फटिकसङ्काशं शुद्धविद्याप्रदायकं शुद्धं पूर्णं चिदानन्दं सदा शिवमहं भजे आपातालनभस्थलान्तभुवनद्ब्रह्माण्डमा विस्फुरत् ज्योतिस्फाटिकलिङ्गमौलिविलसत् पूर्णेन्दुवान्तामृतैः अस्तोकाप्लुतमेकमीशमनिशं रुद्रानुवाकाञ्जपन् ध्यायेदीप्सितसिद्धये ध्रुवपदं विप्रोऽभिषिञ्चेच्छिवम् ब्रह्माण्डव्याप्तदेगा भसितहिमरुचा भासमाना भुजङ्गैः कण्ठे कालाकपर्दाः कलितशशिकलाश्चण्डकोदण्डहस्ताः त्र्यक्षा रुद्राक्षमाला प्रणतभयहरा शाम्भवा मूर्तिभेदाः रुद्रा श्रीरुद्रसूक्तप्रकटितविभवानः प्रयच्छन्तु सौख्यम् ॐ ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यवभूतोतयिषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुतते नमः या तयिषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवा शरव्या तव तया नो रुद्रमृडया या ते रुद्र रुद्र शिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुभाषन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाहसि यामिषं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्षस्तवे शिवां गिरित्रतां कुरु माहि गुंसि पुरुषं जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us all be together. Let us all be nourished together. Let us all work together with great vigor. May our studies shine and illumine our intellects. May we not hate each other. Let there be peace, peace, and peace. Offering my pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba and to the enlightened one, the Buddha, that has occupied our mind and consciousness over the last 1 week. And thank you all for doing the homework. I'm assuming that most of you have done your homework. And thanks to those that have shared on the emails about how they connected to the various mantras and contemplating on the essence of the class from last week. And it's beautiful to see some responses, and you should forgive me. I wouldn't be able to share each and every response, but I had to pick and choose a couple to share so that you all see how beautiful this Rudra Jnana Yajna, Sri Rudra Jnana Yajna, this study of Sri Rudram, which is to go or take us inside, is beautifully connecting to so many different religions and faiths. And so with that, Brother Branimir, can you please enable my screen sharing so that I can share the screen? So while brother is enabling that, I will be sharing very quickly the essence of what we have studied in the very first 5 mantras of this beautiful Sri Rudram. And the first mantra is about invocation. The second mantra is about purity of form. The second ruk, I should say. The third one is about purification of the thoughts. And then the fourth one is about how the purity of the thought manifests itself as the purity of action. And then the fifth mantra, purity of the word, results in good mind and health. Those are the ones that we discussed last week. And I'll share with you a beautiful perspective in the context of these mantras. I think you are already seeing my screen. Yes, Branimir, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So, sharing on the first 5 mantras, the Zoroastrian perspective, because this is a religion that's almost instinct, but it's a beautiful religion that is one of the most ancient religions. The Zarathustra is the priest, Ahura Mazda is the connectivity in the context of the source. Now, this beautiful sharing, Giri is as mountain, is symbolic of wisdom in many faiths, as we have discussed last week. The Jesus Mount Sermon experience, the Moses, Mount Sinai experience, and the Mount Kailas, as many religions, not just the Hindus, many religions look at Mount Kailas as the beautiful symbol of wisdom and the consciousness. And here is what I did not know, and thanks to the sharing that has come through. Less well known is the holy mountain, the Zoroastrian holy mountain, Mount Damavanda in the Alborz range. And I will share this with you all next week. There are several legends, and the essence of it is that the demon Zohak, who was destroying the earth, is believed to have been controlled and imprisoned in the mountain. And Gira is one of the 101 names of Ahura Mazda. Gira. Gira is translated as one who controls evil in order to protect the good, similar to Giri Tra. Zarathustra is believed to have meditated on Mount Ushidarena, which means the mount holding the divine intellect. Now, this is very beautiful, and it's outstanding connectivity. I'm urging all of you who belong to all other religions and to share these kind of perspectives, because truly we are connecting to the Rudra, the Sri Rudram, as a context of raising our awareness and connecting to that source within. That's the purpose of this study circle, and that's the purpose of this yajna, is to go inside. So if you have a perspective that you can relate to from Buddhism, from any other religion, kindly do so, and we would be grateful for that. Now, a lot of questions that came through in the context of the Rudra and Shiva. There seems to be a um, context of how do we connect to the Rudra aspect of it. Now, this beautiful sharing really makes it crystal clear, at least for me. Though both are aspects of Sada Shiva, I am beginning to see them as different levels of awareness. Rudra consciousness makes us realize there is one who exists in multiple forms, but at this stage of awareness, there is still attraction and repulsion. There are friends and foes. So the beauty of this is absolutely perfectly describing what Rudra consciousness is. As from the source come the forces, and these forces that come, those are the forces that pull us outside, that are the centripetal and centrifugal forces, pulling inside, pulling outside, attraction and repulsion. That Rudra is the source, and from the source evolves all of these things. Now, the Shiva consciousness, with the Shiva consciousness, we reach the pinnacle of the mount, or the end of wisdom, the dot invisible, where everything becomes one love. At that stage, we see all with total equanimity, like the Buddha, who was able to renounce and let go of everything except love. See, this is a absolutely phenomenal sharing, and thank you, Jaru Auntie, for providing this sharing. It is totally spot on. That would explain why there were some questions that came through asking, why are we praying to Rudra? What is the context of praying to Rudra? If Rudra is the love, then how come Rudra, we have to pray to Rudra to give up his arrow and all of that stuff? Where is this thought coming from? Now, this is where, when we connect to the Rudra aspect of it and the reflection addressing to the Rudra, what we are saying is, from that divine consciousness, in the very first mantra itself we have studied, it says, Namaste Rudra Manyava, the force of wisdom, issue, the force of thought, the force of the mind, and the force of the action. So these are the different forces. Where are those forces coming from? Very simply, from Rudra consciousness. Therefore, without that source, none of these forces would not even exist, right? So in that, from that source, all these forces are arising, and hence we are addressing Rudra in many different ways. The one that protects our wisdom, the one who is in our awareness, in the context of wisdom, and who is also the pinnacle or the end of wisdom, which is the love. So with that, we will move on to summarizing these very first five mantras. Yes, somebody has a question.
Yes, I just Shekhar, it's Branimir, just for me to understand. So this is so beautiful. So from this inner source, it comes those four forces, and then we are actually
Yes.
starting the process of being aware of those forces, starting the
Yes.
process of
Yes.
purification, and when and in other words, starting the process of climbing the giri, and when we reach the top, we are Shiva, right? So is this transformation from being
Yes.
with from the source, and then actually we are not discriminating, and we are not discriminating, we are not making difference, we see all as one, then we are actually merged into Shiva consciousness at the end of the journey.
We're not there yet. We are just bought the ticket.
Okay.
We just we just bought the ticket for the journey. Let's go through the journey. That is the other thing, right? And so people, when some people when they're sharing, I humbly request you not to jump the gun, not to go to, okay, let me look at all the videos of Shekharji and now I'm done. Then please don't do that. This is yajna, and with this yajna, take the opportunity to connect to every single word, every single rook, contemplate on it, concentrate on it, meditate on it, and then enjoy the journey. Don't merge into Shiva right now. We'll get there as we go through the journey. We'll get how we get to Shiva. It will be absolutely clear to every one of us when we go through the Sri Rudram how we reach that center point of the Shiva or the dot, as was described beautifully in the previous sharing. But let's not rush. Let's go through the process, right? So the very first process is this purity and integrity as laid out in the very first mantra. Now we go to the next mantra, which is one of my favorite mantras. Adhyavochadadhivakta Prathamo Daivyo Bhishak. Now we went through all of that. Now the sixth mantra is a very beautiful exposition. Now, if I look at this mantra as now the source responding to the very first five rooks, Adhi Avochat, Adhi Vakta, Pradhamaha, Daivyaha, Bhishak, Ahin cha Sarvan, Jambhayan, Sarvaha cha Yatu Dhanyaha. This is the mantra that we all know. And the chanting of the mantra. अध्यवोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्यो भिषक् अहिगश्च सर्वान् जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः. Let's take each word by word, literal meaning. Adhi avochet, the one who speaks on behalf, on my behalf, now with assurance. Adhi vakta, the one who extols or highly speaks of me or addressing me. And who is the me here? The me here is the antakarana. The me here is the mirror. The me here is the water, the reflection, addressing that reflection. Very speaking, extolling myself. Prathamaha, first among all. Daivyaha, one who protects all, including the gods. Bhishak, supreme healer. And what is this supreme healer? The one who is giving the assurance, and the one who is basically speaking highly of me means assuring me, don't worry, be happy. Why fear when I am here? Don't worry, be happy. Why fear when I am here? When a child is telling, when a child is talked to by the mother with those words, what happens? She's assuring the child, oh, I understand what you are going through. What are you going through? Oh, I'm going through all those things. Are you worried about those that are destroying you? Jambhayan, cha sarvan, ahin, cha sarvan yatu dhanyaha. And what is that assurance? Don't worry, I will protect you against anything that destroys all the people, all the beings. I will protect you against those. I will protect against anything that causes sorrow. This mantra is the most important mantra, brothers and sisters. It is very beautiful because the very fundamental obstacle of this reflection to be perfect is fear. Fear is the most fundamental aspect of not being connected to that source and the reflection, because constantly that fear is what is destroying. And this fear comes from two different things: the fear of those that you know cause hurt and sorrow, and the fear also comes from those that you do not even know is causing hurt and sorrow. The second one is called COVID-19. You have no idea whether you are carrying the virus or not carrying the virus, it is hurting you or not. Suddenly it will manifest and it will take away your life. That's what has happened with many people across the world. So you have no idea. You don't even know that this virus is hurting you inner. Even from that, I shall protect you. I shall protect you from the fear of those that cause hurt knowingly, and the fear of those that and sorrow that cause you hurt unknowingly, meaning without us knowing it or unknowing. Now, there are certain words here, very beautiful words. Bhishak, Bheshaji. Bheshaji is supreme medicine. Bhishak means a supreme healer. And when we understand the word, who is a supreme healer? A supreme healer is the one who actually cures the system, not the symptom. How is a doctor going to cure you when you are asymptomatically carrying this virus and they don't even have a test to know if you have the virus in your body or not? Can you please tell me how a doctor that is on this call, there are many doctors on this call, without having a diagnostic test, without knowing even whether you carry the virus or not, how are you going to cure them, prevent them? How do you cure the system? But this doctor is saying, I am the supreme healer. I don't cure you after you manifest the symptom. I cure you even before the symptom is manifested. Not only that, I cure your entire system. And what does that mean, system mean? That is a very beautiful question. We will take some of those as homeworks because I don't want to completely sort of spill the beans for you guys. So, and what is that system? The system is inflicted constantly with bhuta, preta, pishacha, brahma rakshasa, yaksha, yamaduta, shakini, dakini, sarpaha, apada, taskara, vrishchika, jwara. All these are the things that are causing hurt, that are causing sorrow, hurting at physical, metaphysical, and even spiritual levels. Now, I know there are some people that are highly realized on this call as well that would be thinking, well, who is getting hurt? Why are we even asking the God? This is not. This is not us asking God anything. This is assurance from the source. Now, this mantra is the assurance from the source. And what is that assurance from the source? The assurance from the source is very simply put, why fear when I am here? This is the essence of this mantra. We are not asking the source, please cure me, please do, please that. No, no. What the source is saying is, whether you know it or not, whether you ask or not, trust me, I will protect you from any of these things even without you asking. This is very important. This asking is the most critical thing. The one who doesn't even give, even if you ask and beg and plead, is a demon. The one who should give, if you ask, is a human. The one who gives without even asking is a divine. I'll repeat that. The one who doesn't give even if you ask. Currently, we have a ruler that belongs to that category in America, and that is a demon. The one who gives when you ask is a human. The one who gives without even asking is divine. This is the divine assurance. Now, the homework that we will take from this, or we will open up for questions and comments, etc. But one request I have is please don't post comments and chat with yourselves, right? Please post questions or comments that are relevant to what we are trying to discuss here. And please don't post comments to advise somebody that, also. Please really get grounded in a study circle. This is an inner yajna. We should really connect to ourselves, not to cure other people, not to, there is no authority. There is no, even this body, the speaker that is speaking here, is not talking with 100% experience. The speaker is very simply is a microphone, and it is the microphone is allowing the speaker to say something. So allow the speaker inside you to speak. Don't allow your mind to speak. Connect to the inner heart. Let it be present to that. What is this mantra saying? So the basis of the fear is at the gross level, and the basis of the fear is also at subtle and even causal levels. The basis of fear at gross level, now in this mantra, those that hurt with provocation are the ones that are called ahi. Ahincha sarvan. I protect you against those that cause fear without provocation, and those that cause fear with provocation. Those that cause with provocation are a scorpion, a snake, or an animal, a tiger, or something that that causes fear, that you are afraid of at gross level. But there are those fears that are also at subtle level. And what is that fear that is caused at the subtle level? The fear that is caused at the very subtle level is very simply put, I and mine. Ahankara, as they call it, the I, the ego I, mamakara, that these are all mine. And that fear is the instinct that stifles spiritual progress. There is a lot to contemplate here on this mantra. Let's open up. Anyone has, you are opening the chat, brother. Okay, there is a chat.
Yes, chat is open.
Okay, chat is open. You can post a question or a comment, or open up when you're asking a question. Kindly unmute and also show your video so I know who is asking the question. Wow, is that, did I lose you all, guys? Did I go? Yeah, Sairam. Yes.
Sairam Shekharji, this is Lalita, Sai Lalita. I connect to this comment, thinking that the inner fear that is not yet manifested, can we say that is mrityu?
Yeah, very interesting question. Is the inner fear about death? But you fear something that is really about unknown. Mostly,
Yes.
that inner fear of death is definitely known. Is there anybody in this world that is born with a physical body thinking that they won't die? So that
No.
is for no. So that is for sure certain. But then
Yes.
why do you fear about something that is so sure and certain?
Exactly. When it really happens, or when it is going to happen, that's when we shake a little bit, even though that is inevitable.
Yeah, I think we worry about death more than, in that, I think there is worry and fear about the death. Yes. So, but God is not giving assurance that I will protect you from death in this month.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And I think that question was asked by so many sages. That question was asked by so many demons in the mythologies. Everybody said, "Please make me deathless." But God kept on saying, "Except that, please ask me anything else."
Anything else, yes.
So why does God not protect us or not assure us not to have death is something that probably everyone needs to contemplate upon. Why is in this mantra, Adhyavocha Dadhivakta, the protection is about those that cause fear and harm knowingly or unknowingly, except death.
That means which can be avoided. The other things that we can avoid.
Sorry, sir, you can't hear what. Okay. Yes. Any other questions?
Saidam Shekhar Garu, this is Sushma. I'm trying to understand the complete, I don't know if I got it right. What I'm understanding is the fear that we have, we don't even know most of the time that we are egoistic when, we always think we're always having the mamakara or the ego, as you said, and we don't realize that. And the only way that to get rid of that is by surrendering to God. And once we surrender to God, even without us knowing that we have the ego or we are here entangled with the samsara and the mamkara, He will take away that fear or that roga or whatever you call it, so you can progress towards this a little closer to your spiritual path.
Yeah. You may interpret like that. So there is a disease, the disease of I and mine. And what is the way to get rid of the disease of I and mine? Is to surrender. Yes. Anybody else has any question? Yes, Sairam?
Uma here, Sacramento.
Sairam Uma.
I just want to comment on the death comment. In this you said in this ruk that Swami, there is an assurance, the fear of the unknown. So even though death is certain, having seen so many patients die, there's one fear that occurs to them at the time of their death. It's the fear of unknown, what happens to what happens to them at the time of death. And at that moment, I always used to think, this moment, they actually know they are not this body. Because when they feel like what happens after this death, that means they know the body leaves, but they are the soul. So that fear of the unknown that happens after the death is what causes them to have the fear of death. I had a patient, very beautiful experience actually. So he was referred to me because he had a sudden cardiac arrest. So as you know, I treat people to prevent them from dying suddenly, or those who died suddenly, I treat them. So this man actually told me that in this experience of dying suddenly, he could see his body, and he could see when he left, there was light all around him, and he was extremely happy. And unfortunately, they brought him back to life, and he did not want to come back to life. So what he told me was, I'm ready to die because I know what is out there, which is a lot of happiness. I thought that was a very beautiful perspective of death.
Thank you, Uma. So, brothers and sisters, as you meditate on this mantra, I would like all of you to go inside our own selves and reflect on what is it that is causing fear within us, what is it that causes worry, insecurity, etc. And as we go through this, and the context of this mantra in the context of what we are studying as Sri Rudram is, from that physical aspect of the body, we are now going into the subtler aspect of what causes the disturbance of the water not to receive the source in full reflection. So let's go back. Let's go back to this. I will share back the screen here so you can see the picture I am referring to is this picture. As you can see in this picture, we went through this picture. We went through the purity and the integrity aspect of the body. Now we are going into the subtler aspect of emotions. And when we go into the subtler aspect of emotion, what is causing the turbulence of the water, or what has caused the mirror to crack, is really about the next aspect of emotion. How do we understand that in the context of what we are talking here? The mirror may be clean, but if the mirror is cracked into multiple pieces, then still it is not reflecting the source in its completeness. So the mirror is clean but broken. What breaks this mirror? What causes this mirror, or what causes this water to be now shaky or turbulent? The water may be pure, but the water is turbulent now. And the turbulence of the water doesn't still catch the beautiful source in its completeness. So when we are looking at these mantras, now we are going to these rooks, the fourth rook, the fifth rook, and now we are going to sixth rook. The sixth rook is now taking us to this emotion, and the very first subtle emotion that's so difficult to overcome is fear. And therefore, in this Sri Rudram, if there is one mantra where the source is speaking about, source is talking to us, the one mantra that is coming from the source is this mantra. And our Bhagwan very simply has very beautifully gave this mantra to us. Why fear when I am here? Even without us chanting Rudram, he has said that. And there is also a second aspect for Sai devotees, Satsai devotees on the call. As you read so many Vahinis, as you listen to Swami's discourses, many of these Veda mantras or the hymns are actually are repeated by the God over and over when he comes in human form. So what God speaks is no different from what is Veda. In fact, Veda is what God has spoken or is speaking or will speak. So why fear when I am here? When we look at this mantra, अध्यवोचदधिवक्ता धमो Devyo Bhishak. Bhishak. Let's contemplate on the word Bhishak. It's not only why fear when I am here, this Bhishak, the supreme doctor, like any doctor in this universe, will not only say, oh, you have fear? Please give it to me. I will take your fear. How many incidences we know from Bhagavan's divine life in physical form, or even without a physical form, that he has taken away fear of people. Oh, you're going to get heart attack? Give that heart attack to me. I will take that heart attack and I will protect you. Now you may ask the question, why does he do that only so choosingly? Why doesn't he do for everyone? That's a different topic. I don't want to get into why God chooses only to do that for a certain people and not to everybody. But this Bhishak is very important concept. It is system, it is not symptom. And it is system in the context of every single aspect of Adi, Daivika Adi, Bhautika Adhyatmika, as we call it, physical, metaphysical, subtle, or even spiritual. Pradhamo Daivyo. And that Pradhamo Daivyo is actually Rudra, the root or the source of all beings. I'm pausing very explicitly because this last week was about Buddha Purnima. And the Buddha aspect of yesterday, I was sharing this in a satsang. The fundamental question that Buddha has asked as a scientist, inner scientist, is why does a human being suffer? And then we went through that aspect. The root cause of suffering is attachment. That's at a very subtle level. But there is also the fear of unknown, the fear of insecurity, the fear of death, the fear of losing something, the fear of the fear is the fundamental root cause of when you fear, you resort to violence. I'll say it again. The root cause of violence is insecurity and fear. No, not even an animal would hurt if it doesn't fear. An animal attacks the other when it actually fears or when it needs food, instinct, either hunger or fear. That's the basic two root causes of why the animal is resorting to fear. And 4 words I will leave with you today about this fear. Himsa, Simha, Hamsa, Soham. I think I'll put it in the chat so everyone has looking at those words, because I know so many people here that don't speak English. Himsa, Simha, Hamsa, Soham. It is only two letters I'm playing with. Actually, Swami has played with me when I was deeply meditating on this mantra the second time when we were doing this. Himsa, Simha, Hamsa, Soham. There is only Sa and Hum in this. Nothing else, only 2 letters. Himsa is violence. Violence comes from fear. Fearlessness is, thank you, brother. I forgot to hit return. Yes, yes. I know there is a question that's coming from, is fear of sin a good thing? Yes, I will come to that. That's a very good question. Himsa, Simha. Simha is a lion. Hamsa is swan. Soham, I am that. This is homework. Going to expose on it, but you got the meaning of the words. Himsa is violence. Simha is a lion. Hamsa is swan, the divine swan. Soham is I am that.
Shekhar.
Now, yes, brother.
We are losing you. Can you please turn off your camera for a while, because we are losing you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a bit better, but yeah,
Okay, let me
turn off
maybe
the camera a bit. Yeah, for a while.
select speaker. Okay. Yeah. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was using the speaker of my thing as a output, and then the input is coming from my thing. That's what's causing. So, beautiful question here. Is fear of sin a good thing? To understand that question, first we need to know what is sin. What is a sin? And every religion, mostly the dualistic religions, focus on this part of sin. When I say dualistic, almost every religion is dualistic. Even in Hinduism, there are significantly dualistic aspects of religions, I mean sects like Vaishnavitism and Shaktism and those kind of things. Those are all focused on the separation of, and then how do we cleanse ourselves from the sin. Now, fear of sin is a good thing, yes. So what is sin? Kumar, what is sin? I assume that is Devar 000 is Kumar.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sairam.
Sairam, what is sin?
Yeah, I believe himsa to others is sin.
Physically
Physically, mentally,
inflicting
verbally.
pain. Yeah. Physically inflicting pain is sin. Yes. And why do you inflict physical pain on others? Now, when I say you, when does one, why does one physically inflict pain on others? Because of insecurity.
Violent thoughts.
Violent thoughts come from insecurity, from fear.
Yes.
And so there is the physical aspect of it, but is sin only a physical aspect?
No,
No.
Thought also.
Thought.
Yes. Is that the only sin? Kumar.
No, I'm totally. I need your answer, sir.
No. It's not my answer. Let me be very clear and make a disclaimer. The speaker is not an authority in anything. The speaker here that is moderating the study circle is not an authority in Vedas, Shastras, Puranas, Itihasas, nothing, zero. The speaker is as much a spiritual aspirant as each and every one of you are on this call. And I totally mean it. Please don't, sir. I'm not giving answers because I know everything, or I'm not here to give answers. This is study circle. So I'm asking questions so I can also get perspective from you in the context of, we talk about the sin in the context of physical sin. There is the sin through thoughts. There is the sin through words. But is that the only sin? Are those the only sin?
Up to my knowledge, I can reach only thought, word, and deed. That's the only way we can cause. And after beyond that, I really don't know.
Okay. Anyone else to Christina? Yes.
If I should help and I don't do, I think this is some kind of sin as well.
Aha, beautiful. If I know I have to help as a human being when I watch something, and if I am able to help and circumstances allow me to help causing harm or hurt to myself, etc., then not doing that is adharma, and adharma is the sin. Yes, beautiful sharing. Yes.
I am.
Thanks.
Yes, Sharada ji.
Sir, doing anything adharma is also sin.
Yeah, now we get into what is dharma, what is adharma. Now that's a very big topic. What is dharma is the fundamental question, but we won't get into that. We are talking about fear of sin. So the topic of discussion with this Rik is fear.
As Swami
And
told me, Papa Biti.
yes, Papa Bhiti is fear of sin.
Yes.
Fear of sin. Love for God, fear of sin. Now, what brother is asking is a very beautiful question. Is fear of sin a good thing? And
That is good thing.
yes, yes, no, yeah, thank you, thank you. So, anybody else, what is who is that Sudhakar, Sudhakar Cherkupalli that put feeling separate from the source is the fundamental sin.
Can you repeat this, please?
Feeling that separate from the source, that you are different or you are not the source, is a sin. When I say source, the source can be, we all have different sources. Call it consciousness, call it Allah, call it, Jehovah, call it Mazda, call it light, call it anything that you want. Call it nothing, like Buddhist. Call it nothing. Nothingness is God. Call it nothing. Whatever you call as source. A very simple feeling that I am separate from that divine source is a very fundamental sin. And when you separated yourself, fear automatically comes. When you separate, yes, Julius, my brother, very late for you. How come you are on the call?
I cannot miss this amazing satsang. I have to be here to listen. You are like a yagnam coming true. I'm so happy.
Thank you, Julius. Go ahead, please share.
Can I share what I feel?
Please.
To be not recognizing your true identity itself is a sin.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. The key word that Julius used, that there is I, imagine this, the I is full. The I is full. When you put a dent in it, it is called identity. A dent is an aberration. The fullness. When you are full and not separate, don't even have a separate identity, then if you have that separateness from that fullness, the fact of just being separated, you have to be fearing for that, because you don't want to be separate. I want to be that. So we understand sin only from a very physical point of view, which is good, because definitely at gross level we should not be causing harm to anyone or anything or any being, either through physically or through thought or through word. And that is the help ever, hurt never principle that Bhagavan has. Bhagavan has a beautiful discourse on this whole thing about the sin aspect of it. I hope and I wish I can, it's in the head. Hopefully, I pray to him to maybe find that video where he explains this whole aspect of sin very elaboratedly. So, the fundamental saying after Bhagavan Vyasa, the Veda Vyasa, had completed the 18 Puranas, the entire rishis went and asked him, I'm sorry, there comes a time in the chronology of a human being, they will not have the ability to focus on anything beyond 6 seconds of a WhatsApp message. If I need to post the essence of all the 18 Puranas on a WhatsApp message and forward it to everyone, oh Bhagavan Vyasa, can you please give us that so we can now send the message right now? And Bhagavan Vyasa said, Ashtadasha Puranaya Vyasasya Vachanadvayam Paropakaraya Punyaya Papaya Parapidanam. The essence of all the 18 Puranas that were expounded by Veda Vyasa is 2 lines, Paropakaraya Punyaya Papaya Parapidanam. Help ever, hurt never. Okay, if someone does not have fear normally, what does it mean? Okay, so they have fear abnormally. So they have an abnormal fear. Is that what I am understanding, Manorama? Can you please elaborate on your question?
No, what I meant to say is usually if somebody is not fearful, so what does it mean about that to that person and about that person that usually is not feeling fear most of the time?
What does it, that's good, no? That means they're happy all the time. Then you don't need any assurance from the God. You're happy.
No, probably this is because of the assurance from God.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Thank you.
When you are fearless, you are happy. Yes. And that's the reason why many people, spiritual people, they are happy and they give happiness to others. And what causes that happiness and what is happiness? In Bhagavan's words, happiness is union with God. So you're fearless means you're happy. When you're happy, you are in union with God. Now don't interpret this happiness that comes from so many other different types of mental indulgences. That's not the happiness I'm talking about. Now, there is a beautiful aspect about this fear of sin that is an important discipline, a spiritual discipline. Fear of sin as a spiritual discipline is a wonderful thing to have because it's a constant check. Asking to hurt people? Am I behaving to hurt people? Am I speaking to hurt people? Am I even remotely having instincts to hurt people? What does that do? It makes the mind and the intellect completely focused on that oneness with that present moment and the God. And therefore, fear of sin as a fundamental spiritual discipline enables one to be completely connected to the inner self. But what we are talking about in this mantra is not about that fear. The fear that is addressed in this rook is about the fear that is caused by those that hurt when provoked and that hurt even without a provocation. And I will leave this as we will close this satsang with a very beautiful poem of Rabindranath Tagore that is a favorite of mine. Actually, my father used to chant this almost like a mantra. Is very beautiful expounding by Rabindranath Tagore, the great poet of India, the only Nobel laureate poet of India, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. On that thought, which is very inspiring, and I will share this. Don't worry, don't need to write it down. I just wanted to. It's a very beautiful poem of where when there is fearlessness, there is freedom. But thanks to Kumar for asking a very very important question of Daiva, Preeti, Papa, Bhiti. Love for God, fear for sin, which is separation from God. Those two are the most important aspects of spiritual discipline. With that, thank you all, and we will close this satsang, and we will resume tomorrow as usual at 7 a.m. California time. And today, right after this, we will be doing Abhishekam to Panchamukeshwara if your schedule enables. And brother, I can post the link on which you can join onto this chat, and we will open up the live stream in a second. So it is the YouTube live stream on Sai Ati Rudram. Let me post that here. Everyone. Okay, how do I check? Everyone in this meeting. Okay, Control V. Now we have an opportunity at least to chant this 11 times Rudram. As we are chanting this 11 times Rudram, may our minds go in and let's connect to this Abhishekam that is happening, is the constant stream of flow of thoughts unto the source, that is Abhishekam. Thank you, Sairam. And we'll close with 9 Samastalokas. Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Sai Ram.